Father Luke Prihoda, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for inviting me back. It's a joy to be here after 2 years and kind of see, as I got to pray through the past 2 years, preparing kind of where the Lord's led me. It's been a great gift. Last August, I was able to go down to Chalco, Mexico, and visit the Sisters of Mary. That's one that has really struck my heart. People ask how I got down there, and I said I read a book. So there was a book that was sitting on my shelf for probably 3 years. It was called Priest and Beggar by Kevin Wells, and it was a story of Father Aloysius Schwartz. He's a priest from D.C., but he wanted to be a missionary, and when he started with the Maryknoll missionaries, he thought, well, he sees himself being put into kind of the leadership role, and he didn't want that. He wanted to be out with the poorest of the poor, serving them, and he wanted to live with them. And so he ended up joining a different order in Belgium, the Samist order, the Society of Missionaries. And so he would end up getting ordained and be incarnated in Korea as a priest. And it was during his time there that he just saw utter destitution of war that took place after the Korean War. And so this was in the 1950s and 60s when he goes and ministers there. And throughout his kind of journey, he gets sick and he has to come back to the States to recuperate. And when he comes back, he brings photos of the destitution and the poverty that he's encountering. And he was able to start raising money. And it was a Korean relief aid, and he started raising money. And so he started different dispensaries, very similar to, let's say, Mother Teresa, walking with those who are on hospice, walking with those who are sick or just outcast. And he loved them all. And ended up starting not necessarily orphanages, but boarding schools. To be able to get people out of the poverty, he did it through education. He wanted to bring them in at 12 years old and then have them be able to leave at 18 with trade schools and educational kind of concepts. And not only did he do that, he's like, anyone can teach school. He needed sisters to go and mother them, to give them that love that they were missing, be it if they were orphans because of the war, or be it from the poverty or the just difficulty. And so that's what they did. 60 years ago, he founded the Sisters of Mary, and it was Korean women who didn't necessarily, they weren't going and having 7 years of formation and education. They were there to mother these children, and they're called mother sisters. And so they mother the children as well as they're in a religious community as sisters, and they serve. And that started in Korea, and then it moved to the Philippines. And shortly before Father Al was about to die with ALS, he had already been diagnosed with Lou Gehrig's disease, but he founds a spot down there in Mexico, in Chalco, Mexico, and has the first buildings built. And it was something that they were able to sustain. So you have 4 or 6 religious sisters, Korean sisters, come over into a culture that they don't know the language. They don't know the culture. It's a very distinct culture between the Asian kind of everything is orderly in these other ways, and to be able to go down there and encounter that. After reading that book, I made a donation, and the author gives me a call. His name's Kevin Wells, and he used to be a sports writer for the Tampa Bay Rays or Devil Rays. I'm not sure what they were at that time, but he called me up and we talked for about 20 minutes, and he said, if you ever want to go down there, just let me know. And I was like, before I let you off the phone, what does that entail? And so he told me, well, the sisters, they don't have a chaplain at the moment. So they would love to always have visiting priests who are able to come and offer them the sacraments to be able, they'll always have somebody come in from outside in the diocese to offer the sacrament of Mass. But they don't always have somebody to talk to give counsel, to be able to walk with or hear confessions, because the other priests have their other assignments. And so I was able to find a week off, July and August, the 29th through the 2nd. And I told him this is the time that about 3 weeks later, I want to go down there and visit the sisters and minister to them, be able to offer adoration, to be able to offer the sacraments and counsel and talks or whatever may come up. And so he called me up and he's like, well, the sisters will be there, but most of the girls will go home for a 7-day period, and they all come back on August 1st. And so I ended up going down there, not really knowing what I was going to do. I had enough United points. They met me at the airport. It was Mother Martha and Sister Gabriella, Sister Gabby. She's the only American that's in this order. And she came to know about Father Al and the sisters through Kevin Wells, who gave a speech there in the D.C. area.
Okay.
And so as I'm driving down there, Mother Martha tells me, "You look nervous." I was like, "Yeah, because no one's told me what I'm going to do." I was expecting to have a little bit of insight as to what this is going to entail. And what ended up was the next week of just grace upon grace that has transformed my priesthood. And to be able to go down there as I'm journeying, I was like, well, I know that these girls are traumatized because, again, some of them, they've lost parents in cartel wars. Some of them, they're avoiding human trafficking. Some of them, they're just they've got 8 children and they're not able to provide food for them all. And so what they are able to do is bring 12-year-old girls in and mother them to life again. And then at 18, after 3 years of school, they get their education, and then they have 2 years of trade school, be it cooking or sewing or computer classes. They're opening up a nursing center down there on that campus. And so I was able to go down there, say Mass for them, and then I was like, but I don't really know my schedule. So I thought I was maybe just going to get a nice retreat in myself. And Mother Martha said, "No, we have a schedule for you." And so it was different things that would come up. You're giving a talk at this point. You're going to hear confessions at this point. You're going to do this. And it was the most life-giving thing I could have done for my vacation. And then I was able to have such a good relationship with them. They also offer pilgrimages to Our Lady Guadalupe and then a time there. And so this spring break, I was able to take 11 of our pilgrims from the parish, and we were able to go down. We spent all day at Our Lady Guadalupe, got to say Mass in one of the side chapels there, and then we went to Chalco, and I was able to give a couple of different retreat talks. It was the first week of Lent, so I gave a talk on prayer, fasting, and almsgiving. And I let Father Al give the talk on almsgiving. He was really good at it in his lifetime, and so I just played one of his his talks from 1990 on kind of meeting Christ in the poor and how we can serve them. And so that was a beautiful opportunity to give those talks, to minister to my pilgrims, and then minister to the sisters, and to minister to the children, and then to celebrate a holy hour with the niñas. There was about 80 girls, and that was one of the most beautiful times of adoration I've ever had. It was at night. It was at 7:00. We had just finished dinner, and so my pilgrims were able to come, and they sat there and prayed. And they go, "You're going to be giving a talk to these girls who are kind of in the vocation part of things, like they're discerning different vocations, be it for the sisters themselves or different religious orders." And so they go, "Can you give a talk or like a short explanation and then do adoration?" And I was like, "Yes, I'm going to do adoration," because we had it at our priest retreat this year, where the priest, he called it mule ministry. He picked up the monstrance and went and blessed every person specifically.
Oh, wow.
And so there were about 80 girls, and I gave a probably 5-10 minute kind of reflection on unless a grain of wheat falls to the ground and dies, it doesn't produce fruit. And so after that, I picked up the monstrance, and these girls stayed kneeling for an hour and a half or hour and 15 minutes. And one by one, I went and blessed each and every one of them. And they just would then move to the back of the line, and they kept funneling forward. And then after that, I was able to bless the 2 religious sisters there and my pilgrims. And it was just transformative to see the grace pour through the Eucharist to these children. And that's what they told me when I got there. They said there's a lot of pain that these people have encountered, but there's also a lot of joy. And they said, we make a Jesus sandwich. On the bottom floor of their dorms is a chapel, and on the top floor is a chapel. And the girls live in between, and they study, and they get mothered back to life and have an education that they then can go back, be it in a hospitality environment, be it go to school and get a business degree to come back. And a lot of their religious sisters now. 37 of them were at one time children in the order that are out of the 45 that are mothering them were there.
Nice.
And there's 7 countries now. There's 400 sisters and there's 20,000 kids.
Wow.
Both boys and girls towns.
Wow.
The one in Chalco has 3,000 girls. They've got one in Guadalajara that's got 2,000. And so that was just seeing their self-gift and being able, how they wake up at 5:15 to start their day of prayer. And then they walk with these children, and then outside teachers come in and teach them classes. But after they get out of class from 3 to 5, they're always doing something, different chores, playing sports. And so to see the sisters not going to bed until 10, it makes me as a priest, I can't just sit around and do a whole lot of nothing. I have to seek to utilize what the Lord gives me. And so I try and be as available to my parishioners here, be able to serve them and dedicate time to ministry, to evangelization, and to healing through the sacraments, being available for sacraments of the sick, sacraments of penance. And so I think a lot of that comes from me reading a book. And so if you're wondering if you should read a book, yes, they are very good, especially those saints who have gone before us. Or Venerable Al, his cause for canonization is up right now. That's been a great blessing, and I'm lucky enough that I have a pastor who's been able to allow me to minister in those mission trips, and I'll get to go back and minister to the sisters.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
It's been fantastic.
Again, thanks for allowing me to share how the Lord has blessed me. Really, that's what it is. He's blessed me, and I hope that I'm blessing others with His presence and His grace as their shepherd.
God bless you, Father Luke.
Thanks.